My name is Carolina Farideh Shilot Vázquez. I was born and raised in Mexico City, so I proudly consider myself 100% Mexican in all senses. I would like to start my ethnolinguistic profile with my last name Shilot. My last name made me feel so proud of my Aztec roots. Shilot comes from the classic Nahuatl that means immature green ear of maize or baby corn. In Mexico, 6 out of every 100 people speak an indigenous language. The number of speakers of indigenous language has increased in recent years, but the rest of the Spanish speaker population has grown in higher percentage. Where I come from, Mexico City, just 2% of the population speak indigenous language. Unfortunately, I am not a Nahuatl speaker. I wish I could speak it. The only member of my family that spoke an indigenous language was my great-grandfather. He spoke Zapotec, but he passed away when I was 4 years old. As you can imagine, I was raised in a monolingual family. Spanish has been the unique language I speak with my parents, brothers, family members, and friends. My life has been 99% in Spanish. However, English has been present during my whole life. My parents can communicate in a functional way in English. They use English mostly when we are abroad and because this is the easiest way to communicate with other people. On the other hand, my two brothers are bilingual. Both of them have already taken the certificate in advanced English. This English examination is provided by the Cambridge University. For my parents and for most part of Mexicans, and of course, as part of the globalization, English represents an excellent tool that can give you better personal and academic opportunities. Little by little, private schools are becoming more popular since public schools do not provide English classes at basic levels until you are 12 years old and your organic memory is not as good as before when you are a kid. I was 7 years old when I started to learn English. I remember having hard time learning and memorizing and repeating the grammar rules, the verb conjugations, regular and irregular verbs, and of course prepositions. That, by the way, I still have problems with them. Since English wasn't the easiest language for me to learn, I started to learn French when I was 12 years old. This language was completely different for me because it is really close to Spanish grammar and roots, so I could learn French easily. By the time I finished college, I felt stronger with my French and just okay with my English. After college, I worked with 5th graders in Mexico City. I taught to them Spanish, math, science, geography, and history. All the subjects were in Spanish. Spanish is supposed to be the common language between my students and I. However, the difference of age, sociocultural context, family interaction, and language variety complicate my approach to them. Using colloquial expressions, jokes, or topics that I couldn't understand at the beginning was difficult for me. However, at the end of the year, I could understand their Spanish and be part of their speech community. After 1 year working at that public school, I was invited to work in France for 1 year teaching Spanish. It was an awesome experience, but at the beginning, using the language that I had studied for 6 years was not really easy. I experienced a cultural shock that prevented me from speaking French during a month with my students, co-workers, and friends. Fortunately, English was my life favorite. With my students, I always spoke Spanish using gestures and appropriate pace while teaching Spanish, but with everybody else, I spoke English. That's how I was able to feel part of this new social context. With this meaningful experience, I realized how important it is to know a different language other than your native one. In France, I was able to improve my French skills. I improved my speaking, my listening, my writing, and my reading. However, I did realize how important and relevant it is to know English, since this language can help you out in different contexts. So after all the hard moments that I had while learning English, I realized that they had been worth it. Now, I am a current graduate student at UTSA. English has opened to me this great opportunity, but at the same time, I have been able to realize how much Spanish is appreciated in this country and how Spanish and any other language can empower you to achieve a better life.